So I saw this another interesting question which I wanted to talk a little bit about, guys. On Quora, which I thought was really interesting. It goes like this: how do I understand the person before going to marry him or her? I mean, I have to spend my whole life with a partner, but how would I know that she will be the right one and won't have fights after marriage? And I thought it was a really interesting question that I can maybe give some thoughts on. And maybe I can add some value to the quality of your life. Maybe you can start thinking about it for yourself as well and what it means. But before I do that, guys, I keep forgetting this. Please, can you help me get to 1,000 subscribers by June by subscribing? I'd really, really appreciate it. Also, if you like the video and you find it useful, please can you like it because it helps the algorithm. It helps with the algorithms on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it if you can do that. Anyways, let's get back into this question because I found it really interesting. Well, to answer the question straight off the bat, I do not believe that any person can truly ever know anybody. And I say this because no one can even truly know ourselves. So, how can we be expected to truly ever know somebody? And here's the thing that is even more interesting, and I think is even more of a factor, is that as people, as we learn and we develop, we should be changing. You cannot, the person who you marry on year one is not going to be the same person as you marry in year 15, because we should be developing as we learn and we experience more. Our philosophy is going to be different. Our needs are going to be different. For example, women, women's sexual appetite and when women are more sexually active is in their 40s. Here's a problem: if you expect your woman to have the same level of sexual consistency when she's 40 versus when she's 20, it's going to be completely different. Women, when women are stressed, their sexual appetite goes down, right? Whilst men, when we're stressed, we use sex as a relief. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when men are stressed, they use sex as a way to de-stress. Whereas when women are stressed, the last thing that they want to do is have sex, because women, when they want to have sex, they want to feel comfortable. So all of this stuff you will not learn by theology. You're going to have to live it. You're going to have to experience it and learn all of this kind of stuff, right? At different points of your relationship, you're going to have certain needs. Sometimes you're really stressed out and you need more support from your partner. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen to. Sometimes you're having problems with your mum, you're having problems with your brother. Maybe one of your siblings is going through a divorce. Maybe one of your parents is really ill and you have to care for them, which means your partner may have to look after the kids a little bit more and support you a little bit more for 2 or 3 years. Like, life is so turbulent and ever changing that it is impossible to truly know who somebody is and how they actually are. And ultimately, and I keep saying this to people because this is really important, the duration of your marriage does not equate to the knowledge of your marriage of your partner. Meaning, just because you've been together for 40, 30 years, 15 years, it doesn't mean that you know your partner and how they're feeling, right? Emotions are malleable. They have a plasticity. They change. They flow. They go up and down, right? I know that I think there's somewhere around 2,000 different emotions. Most human beings use about somewhere between 10 to 20 emotions. Well, here's the thing: as you grow and you mature and you heal, you may be experiencing different emotions, and your partner or you should be able to be conscious of that and be able to respond to that and be able to be malleable and learn that and do and be able to work in partnership with your partner regarding that. And so that's really the first thing that I would say. It's really, really important. Let me also say, I think it's fantastic that you're even asking this question, right? Because you understand that who you marry is either going to be hell for you or it's going to be tolerable, right? Tolerable. How do you say that word? Tolerable? Basically, what I'm saying is, if you marry the wrong person, your life is going to be hell, right? There is nothing worse than being trapped in the middle of the ocean in a cage with somebody who you don't like. You understand? Metaphorically speaking, right? Being in a marriage with somebody who you hate, who you don't get on with, who you are not compatible with, is the worst nightmare, right? But if you're with somebody in a cage or in the middle of the ocean who you love, who you're working in partnership together with, it is tolerable. It is a better experience than not, right? And I only say this because I don't want to give you the illusion that a marriage is supposed to be wonderful, that a marriage is supposed to be all happy bells and singing and whistling. I think a lot of people have been lured into this Hollywood kind of romantic fairy tale of what a relationship should be. But the reality of a relationship is that relationships are messy, relationships are ugly, relationships are a duty, right? But there are things in a relationship that you have to do that we don't see in movies, right? Your partner might be going through postnatal depression. She might be going through a situation where she struggles with her weight after she has a baby. She might be going through a period where she's really struggling with getting to terms with her stretch marks. She might be going through a situation where she's really struggling to breastfeed, right? Struggling with managing parents who are sick, managing her workplace and being at home. Maybe she feels stressed out, right? Like, life is really messy. There is things that you have to do in a marriage that people don't see in movies. Like, life is not like the actual marriage itself. Let me share with you something that I recently heard. A lot of people are getting married for the wedding, not for the marriage. I repeat, a lot of people are getting married for the wedding, not for the marriage. Meaning, a lot of people are spending more time on what the napkins are going to be on their wedding table, where people are going to be sitting, what color the napkins are going to be, than what their marriage is going to be like. This is why I say to people, it is so important that you go to pre-marriage counseling, because there are going to be things that you're going to find out about your partner in pre-marriage counseling that are going to shock you. You thought that you were going to get married and you're going to have 5 kids. She says, I'm not going to have more than 2 kids. I'm not interested. See, there's a very big difference between having 2 kids and having 5 kids. If a woman is got the expectation that she's going to be a stay-at-home mum, but you're thinking, no, we're going to be sending the kid to a nursery and you're going to be working full-time to help me, I'm not going to be the sole breadwinner. See, that is a very big difference. And some people, believe it or not, have never talked about these things. They've never discussed it. I'm writing this booklet at the moment, which is a pre-marriage counseling booklet about all these pre-marriage counseling questions. And one of those questions is, what is the purpose of you being together? Why is the world better because you're together? What is your purpose? Because I say this because a lot of couples, they're getting together because they love each other. But love does not sustain a marriage. There are a lot of people who get divorced who are still in love with each other, but they cannot live with the person. They can't stand the person. It's just too much. What's one of the number one reasons for divorce, which is given as the reason for divorce? Unreasonable behavior. Unreasonable behavior constitutes, obviously, infidelity, abuse, anything like that, neglect. It's all encompassed in that umbrella. But my point being is that a lot of people, they can't live with a person even though they love them, right? And so it's really important that as people, we really begin to understand that we need to actually see a marriage in its reality. Marriage in itself. See, I always say to people, if you are a selfish person, if you want your life to be all about you, and you want to be able to have freedom, don't get married. Because I'm telling you now, really the whole reason why you get married is because you're willing to basically put the other person first, so that you get into this rhythm and this equilibrium where you're both working and giving each other, right? You give to your partner, they give back to you, because that's how you sustain a relationship. The amount of times I've heard people say, well, I am the one who's giving everything in a relationship, right? I'm giving this, I'm putting in effort, and my partner is putting in nothing. That's one of the big reasons for divorce. So where the relationship works or the marriage works is where both of you are giving 100%. In fact, let me ask you this question. How much percentage should each person in a marriage be giving in order for it to work? Most people, when I ask that question, say 50-50. That is not true. It should be 100-100. If both of you are putting in the best effort, that's when a relationship is working its best. Now, when I talk about effort, I don't mean effort in the same areas. I mean effort in different areas. It could be the same areas, but maybe one of you is taking care of the home and one of you is providing. Maybe one of you is taking the kids to work and one of you is cleaning the house, washing the car, doing the dishes, right? Mowing the lawn, going and fixing things in the kitchen, painting a room in the house, changing the carpets, whatever it may be. My point being is this equilibrium is how actually a marriage works. So I don't know if that has kind of answered your question or not, but essentially, in all, you can never truly know your partner. All you can do is do the pre-marriage counseling and actually talk about really difficult conversations. I always say to people, one of the markers where if you know that somebody is gonna, here's how I put it. Let me put it metaphorically because I'm gonna get. So basically, one of the ways in which to know if they say that one of the predictors of a long-term relationship or longevity in a relationship is flexibility. So if you're looking for somebody, one of the traits that you're looking for that predicts longevity in a relationship is flexibility. The person to be flexible in their thinking, in their attitudes. If you have somebody who's rigidified, this is the way it has to be. If it's not like this, if you're not like this, then I don't want it. Then basically the relationship is guaranteed to end. What I say to people is, in order to test how strong a chair is, if you really want to know how strong a chair is, you have to try to break it. Here's the problem. I always get really suspicious and very worried when couples tell me, oh, Cassim, we don't argue. Oh, Cassim, we don't have conflict in our relationship. Because I'm like, how is that possible? And I already know they're on the rocks. I already know they're on the road to separating, to splitting up. Because there is no way that you can change and develop and be ambitious and be honest with each other if you don't have conflict. You both have come from completely different backgrounds. You both have had different upbringings, different attitudes, different experiences. So how can you possibly agree on everything? Well, I can tell you how you can agree on everything is because you're trying to tell your partner, you're being too agreeable. You're trying to tell your partner what they want to hear, not what you actually believe, not what truly is in your heart. Now, obviously, in saying that, there is, of course, elements in a relationship where you do, if your partner says to you, do I look ugly in this? Of course you're not going to say that, right? You're going to say, no, babes, you look really good, right? But my point being is, the way you test how strong a chair is, you have to try to break it, right? And so what I say to people is, one of the ways in which you test a relationship is ask questions that are controversial. Talk about things that are difficult to talk about. Kids, money, prenups, politics, religion. All of these areas are controversial, they are difficult to talk about, but they're really important. Talk about, one of the questions that I have in that pre-marriage counseling questionnaire, a booklet, is I say, if your mother did something which really upset me and I did not agree with, what would you do? Like, I say this question as, like I say to the people in the booklet, ask your partner that question whilst we're going through pre-marriage counseling, because that's a really important thing. One of the reasons for separation is conflict within families. One of the big areas that causes loads of conflict in a marriage is other members of the family, right? Your mum coming home and just coming in the house and rearranging things in a house. Let me tell you something, men, that I've realized about women. Women do not like other women in their space. it's fascinating for me to see this. Women hate it when other women, like a woman, here's how I learned this. A man would cheat, and then here's what the woman would say, and you wouldn't believe it. She was in my bed. She was in my bed. And I was like, why does it matter if she's in your bed? He cheated. The fact that she's intruded in their bed, she slept in her side of the bed, is more worse for the woman than the actual cheating itself, right? Like women, this is how I learned. So I wrote these notes down, and sometimes I've not actually thought about them and articulating them. So the way that I thought about it is, and I've learned, is that women find emotional infidelity and regard emotional infidelity higher than physical infidelity, whereas men regard physical infidelity higher than emotional infidelity. What does that mean? That means a woman will regard something on the lines of, did you kiss? So for example, this is actually how I learned it. I'm listening to a woman and she's talking about her partner. And she's saying to the partner, did she give you a blowjob? And then she says this, did you kiss her? Did you tell her that you loved her? I'm thinking, why are you asking that? The fact that he cheated is bad enough, but you're asking that. And I was thinking, this is ridiculous. And then I would hear men say this, did you have sex? It's one thing that you're texting the guy. Most men, that's cheating in itself. But then the men would say, did you have sex with him? And I'm like, dude, she was texting another guy. Like, what's wrong with you? And what I realized was that women and men regard very different things in terms of infidelity. They regard them higher. And what I'm saying to you is, some of these things you're not going to learn by me telling them to you. You're actually going to learn them by experiencing them. You're going to learn them by living, by talking, by having conversations with each other, right? And a lot of couples don't have conversations with each other. So to answer your question, how do you know and get better understanding of your relationship? Have a chat with each other. Talk to your partner. That's how you know your partner the best that you can. They have to share what they believe, what they think, ideologies, philosophies, what they stand for, what is important to them, what they need. You can sometimes guess, but ultimately it's better if they tell you. So I hope that has helped you out. I hope it's been useful. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, guys. I'd absolutely love it if you can help me get to 1,000 subscribers by June. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Bye.